three types of desires only. Dharma, Artha, Kama. Dharma also is rare. Artha, Kama is more. And these desires are further classified into three main groups. Desire for wealth, desire for progeny, and desire for some other loka. It's called Vitteshana, Putreshana, and Lokeshana. Three types of popular desires of human being. One desire is for vitta, wealth and property and things to make my life here on earth comfortable. Make my life means my body, my personality should be protected and comfortable, and to gain all pleasure, I require some wealth, so I keep striving to gain that wealth. So right from our childhood, parents also understand this. They send their children for school, college and all, ultimately so that that fellow will get a good job or will go into some business. If nothing works, then join the politics and earn a lot of money. So Vitteshana, for making this life itself better. But deeply we know that I will not live long in this world. However much I try, however much I go and do yogasanas and eat health food and do all sorts of things, ultimately I will die. But I want to live long. I want to continue to exist. I want to retain my name. So there is another desire deeply in a human being to have children or to have something left behind so that their name continues. If they don't have children, they will do something else, put their statues and all, or write autobiography or some other things, so that I don't want to die. So I want to leave behind in the form of my children or some other way. Or a spiritual person wants some disciples to be there so that his name continues. Falana Guru ke mai chela hu, and all those things. So that is also a desire which prevents us from surrendering to God. And the third type of desire is that after I leave this world, I want to gain a better life somewhere else. So better life now, my name should remain behind when I die, and wherever I go after death, I should get a better life. Maybe some other loka, maybe Swarga lok, or maybe another better life should be born again with better facilities. So these are three inbuilt strong desires within us, which prevents us from dropping our identity. I failed to drop my identity, my personality, identification with it, because I want to protect it. And I want to protect it even after this body falls off, I want to protect it. And even when I go to other world, I want to protect. So this intense attachment to this, our personality and this type of desires which come, prevents me from surrendering to that supreme reality, which is my own self. Unless I give up what I am holding on, I cannot attain that infinity. I cannot realize that infinity. I have to drop that which is finite. It's like the walls. Unless I break the walls, I won't experience that infinite space. So in order to fulfill these various desires which are there in my heart, what I do? I perform actions. Because to fulfill desires, we need to act. So we perform various types of actions. And if those actions become insufficient by myself, I take somebody's help. I take help of my friend, of my family members, of the society. And when I cannot get proper help from them, I sometimes approach some various forces of nature, the various devatas, the little devatas also. So Bhagavan says that the knowledge or the vivek, the discrimination of this person gets kidnapped, gets driven away because of his desires. intense desires, and he worships various types of devatas to fulfill those desires. Therefore, in this world, you will find there are a multitude of these little devatas. All devatas means those power which you think will fulfill your desire. That devata can be a human being also. You have to do something. That devata can be in the form of some grahas also. That devata can be in the form of some various types of angotis also. People wear some 10 different types. Or that devata can be the little forces of nature, or the various aspects of Bhagwan in the form of the Indra Devata, Varuna Devata, or the Grama Devata, a Devata of the village, or the various types of Devatas, so many temples and all. And once a person starts getting some fulfillment in that, that temple also becomes more and more popular. And more people start coming. More their desires get fulfilled. So Bhagwan says that this type of activity of human beings prevent them from surrendering to me. The effort required to please a little devata sometimes is more than to surrender to that Supreme Lord. Bhagwan doesn't ask for anything. He says, you just surrender to me, I will take care of everything. Ananyasyantayanto mam ye jana paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. In the 9th chapter, Bhagavan will say that one who constantly worships me, serves me, surrenders to me, I take care of him, all his needs. So here also Bhagavan says that if you surrender, I will take care. But our desires are so strong that we don't surrender. It's like a person cannot sleep if he has got some anxiety, some worries, or some other desire, some party is going on and all. Similarly, if I have these desires, I don't surrender. I am not available. Even if somebody talks about it, I get annoyed. I say, अभी समय नहीं आया है. समय आता ही नहीं then. That fellow is retired, becomes old. नहीं अभी इतने जल्दी क्या है भगवान समय नहीं आया है. And Yamaraj ji comes and stands there right at the doorstep, and that becomes too late then. And again, if something happens and miraculously gets cured, again continues with all his other activities. See, it's so important. All other things which we are do is really non-important. The essential thing just to maintain your body, and this, it should be a secondary agenda. The primary agenda should be to gain enlightenment. Because once we miss this chance, when we will get a second chance, we don't know. We will get a second chance. But when and in what condition and how long it will take, we don't know. And the beauty is that whatever we are seeking and trying to experience, in some form or other, we have experienced. We have experienced a lot of things in this world. In our various many lifetimes which we have come, we have experienced the limit of pleasure. We have experienced the limit of richness also. We might have experienced all types of, because we have taken so many lifetimes in so many other lokas also, that we have experienced everything. But unfortunately, we want to keep repeating the same type of experience. So Bhagavan says that propelled by their desires to attain this and that, kamaihi taitaihi ritatjnanaha, their knowledge has been kidnapped away, taken away. And prapadyante anya devata, they worship other devatas. The unfortunate part, even that supreme reality, like for example, we worship Krishna, we worship Rama, we worship Ganesha, we worship Shiva, but they can be worshipped as the supreme, or they can be worshipped as little devata also. Many people have reduced these great devatas into little devatas only. That is the unfortunate part. It's like a great king is there. You can get anything from that king, but we use that king to get little things only. Like a person who is super rich, and you try to get some 100 rupee, 200 rupees from that fellow, or little toffee or something, or peanuts. So Shiv Bhagwan can give us moksha. भगवान मेरी नौकरी लगा दो, एक अच्छी सी छोकरी दिलवा दो और टोकरी दिलवा दो पैसे की. So Bhagwan must be saying, what is this fellow is asking? I tell you, he can ask for moksha, he can ask for becoming one with me, he can ask for becoming Shiva, but he is asking for some other thing. And even if that thought comes, we will drive it away. We say, no, not now. We don't understand the importance of it. So, prapadyante anya devataha. Chote mote devataon ki aradhna. Therefore, in our country also, people get confused when they hear about this Hinduism and all. Millions of types of devatas are there. We talk about 33 crores, but I think there are more than that. Different, and every day some new devata pops up. New devata comes. And in every place there are special devatas. I tell you, some special devata. You will find, if you go to a village and all, you will find that there are some special devata, very powerful. And they have a particular type of niyama. If you follow, tam niyamam asthaya. If you follow those niyams, then you get that your desires also get fulfilled. So tam niyamam asthaya prakrutya niyata swaya. Propelled by my own prakriti, propelled by my own past impressions, my svabhav, these various people, they propelled by their desire, they move in this world and they fail to surrender to me. Actually, if we can drop our desires, see, desires are very powerful. It's like desire means I want. But if I have developed that courage and that strength, that I don't want what I want. I don't care for what I want. I'm not interested in what I want. When I lose interest in my own little self also, I want, oh, what I want. Keep quiet. We are so much interested in this little personality of us that we try to fulfill it. We become its sevak, constantly trying to fulfill. And if it is miserable, and constantly we say, mera aisa hua, waisa hua, rote rehte hain. So either we are crying for our personality or trying to pacify it or trying to give it all sorts of pleasure. But when we lose interest in this limited personality and when we seek only that supreme, see, it's very, very frightening in the sense that to gain that supreme, I have to give up all that is little and small. It's like my dream. Unless I give up my dream, I cannot come into the waking state. If I get attached to my dream, I continue with my dream. But I have to lose interest in that dream. Then only I can wake up. So, tam niyamam asthaya prakrutya niyata swaya. They worship these little devatas. Then what happens when they worship these devatas? Bhagwan says in the next verse, Yo yam tanum bhaktaha shraddhayarchitum ichchati tasya chalam shraddham tameva vidadhamyaham yo yam tanum bhaktaha shraddhayarchitam ichchati. Bhagwan says, in order to fulfill their desires, they worship the various devatas. See, all these devatas are also various expressions of that Supreme Lord only, but not his direct expression. Like the sun has got millions of rays. So every ray of the sun is an expression of the sun. Every ray of the sun contains the power of the sun. But one ray is not equivalent to a sun. However beautiful and however strong that ray may be, you cannot equate it with the sun. It is just one aspect of that sun. But if we just take one ray and worship it as sun and keep on demanding things from that ray only, then it will be, oh, Bapre. So Bhagavan says, yo yo yam yam tanum bhaktaha shraddhaya architum icchati, that whoever that person may be, in order to fulfill his desire, worships a particular form of devata, whatever be the form. If you worship that form with faith, shraddhaya architum icchati, with faith, when he worships that form, Bhagavan says, tasya achalam shraddham tameva vidadhamyaham. I make that faith strong. Very strange. Bhagavan says that whatever devata you worship with faith, I make that faith strong, because ultimately that faith will release us from all bondage. So that faith becomes strong in whatever, and that we see in this world actually. When we sincerely worship any aspect of the Lord with faith, our faith in that particular aspect becomes stronger and stronger. We become more and more sincere. We start perceiving that path of worship very sincerely. And slowly and steadily, we look at that devata in a more and more broader sense. First, we looked at him as a little devata. Then we can look at him as Ishvara only. So we may begin our journey by worshipping a little devata, but Bhagavan says, I make that shraddha very strong in him. Tameva vidadamyaham. Because ultimately, shraddha is very important. Faith is very important. And if the faith gets broken or shaken, then the person falls down to a large extent from his spiritual path. Faith in our teacher, faith in our scriptures, faith in the devata which we are worshipping, faith in our sadhana which we are doing, faith in ourselves. When it shakes and breaks, then that is a worst thing which can happen to a person, because then to again regain that, it takes a lot of effort. Some people lose faith in themselves. Some people lose faith in the scriptures. Some people lose faith in their teacher. Some people lose faith in the devata. There was one person who used to worship Lord Ganesh regularly. And one day he used to ask for things. So one day he requested Lord Ganesh to give him a car. He says, please give me a car, a big car. And he offered nariyal. 1 month, 2 months, no car came. He remained bekar only. So he got real annoyed one day. He said, I will stop worshipping now Ganesh. I will worship his father. So he removed that murti and he kept it on top somewhere. And then he brought a Shivalinga and he started worshipping. So as one day he was offering that agarbatti, and the fragrance, that dhua, smoke, started going there where Ganesh Bhagwan was sitting. So he saw that he had never noticed it, but that day he noticed that this smoke is going there. So he got so annoyed that he took Ganesha Murti and he tied his trunk, that he should not smell anything. Not why he did not give me car. So as he was doing it, suddenly Ganesh Bhagwan appeared in front of him. This is a story, huh? So Ganesh Bhagwan appeared in front of him and he said, I am very pleased with your this worship. He said, pleased with your worship? But so many days I am doing and now I was tying your this trunk and you are pleased? He said, today is the first time you took me as a living God, as someone who is taking your offering or rejecting your offering. So I am pleased with that. And that should be the intensity of our puja. Not just some murti is there and I am offering, but there should be that intensity. So as we worship these little devatas, Bhagwan says that I make that faith stronger and stronger. And ultimately that faith will take you to that ultimate goal. You will develop faith in me. So tasya chalam shraddham tameva vidadhamyaham. But how come we gain fulfillment of our desires by worshipping these little gods? What happens? Bhagwan says in the next verse, Sataya shraddhaya yuktaha tasyaradhanamihate labhate cha tata kaman mayeva vihitan hitan sataya shraddhaya yuktaha tasyaradhanamihate. Bhagwan says, Sataya Shraddhaya Yuktaha. When a devotee with that Shraddha, he worships those devatas, not considering them as that Supreme Lord, but just taking them as a little devata who are strong enough, powerful enough to fulfill my desire. So when I worship these devatas with faith, tasya radhanam ihate, I do their aradhana, worship them with faith, then what happens? Labhate cha tatak kaman, I gain fulfillment of my desires. My desire with which I worship that devata gets fulfilled. Whichever devata, you worship a stone, you worship a whatever. Bhagwan says, I develop faith because that faith is very interesting and important. It doesn't matter. You can take pick up a stone from the road, keep it, wash it, or even don't wash it, keep it, and every day you worship it as a devata who will fulfill your desires. And Bhagwan says that your desires will get fulfilled. Nowadays people talk about it as law of attraction, this, that and all. But this is Bhagwan's glory only. He says, Labhateja tatak kavan. And how their desires get fulfilled is Maya eva vihitan hitan. Bhagwan says, I only fulfill their desires. Through those devatas, I only give. It's like a parents, our own parents, and the little children are there. Whatever desires they have, they approach their parents and they fulfill them. But sometimes a child approaches some other, he approaches the servant who is working in the house. Ki mere ko ye chahiye. So that servant he is connected to the parent. So parent come to know that my child wants this. So through that servant, sometimes the father fulfills the desire of that child. Similarly, one God alone fulfills our desire through these devatas. Devatas by themselves are not very powerful. They are also like jivas only at different stages of evolution. All devatas are jivas at different stages of evolution. Only one God is there, and that is Ishvara. So Bhagavan says, Labhate cha tatak kaman maya eva vihitan hitan. They get their kamnas get fulfilled because I only give them their result according to the great laws of nature, according to the great laws of karma. Their desires get fulfilled appropriately. Therefore, even the other, those who don't surrender to that Supreme Lord and try to fulfill their desires by going here and there, that their faith becomes more and more strong, their desires get fulfilled, and then because of this deep faith, their attention from these little things also get diverted, and slowly and steadily they come to become devoted to that Supreme Lord. It is a long journey, but even with this, from this path also, they will reach the same goal. It's a very interesting phenomena. Therefore, we have later, it doesn't matter actually, whatever devata you worship, before fulfilling whatever desire you worship, that faith will become more and more strong. That faith is very important. Desires get fulfilled and go away, but that faith will become strong. And as the faith becomes strong, your appreciation of the devata will become more and more sublime, more and more pervasive. Then the devata will not remain little. Then you will look at the devata as the Supreme Lord alone. And this is the psychology of devotion. So Bhagavan says that people don't surrender to me because they have lots of kamna in their heart. And in order to fulfill that kamna, they approach the various devatas or various powers of this nature. And with faith, they worship them. So I develop that strength, I make that faith more and more strong, and I fulfill their desires. And in this way, slowly and steadily, they ultimately come to realize me only. Further, Bhagavan says, Antavattu phalam tesham tadbhavatyalpamedhasam devan devayajo yanti madbhakta yanti mamapi antavattu phalam tesham tadbhavatyalpamedhasam. Antavattu phalam tesham tad bhavati alpamedasam. Whatever be our desire, the result of that desire is a limited phala only. The result is limited. It comes to an end. Antavattu phalam tesham tad bhavati alpamedasam. This alpamedas, these people of little intelligence who worship these little devatas in order to fulfill their little desires, even if their desires get fulfilled, the result of these desires are temporary. They come to an end. Antavattu phalam tesham. Sometimes we should sit and find out what are the various desires we want God to